us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Why is the bedroom so cold? You've turned away on your side.
No religion for old men. It's even worse for women. This is a play on words on a movie that I liked a little bit ago. It was called No Country for Old Men. And I thought that title, to me, it really didn't fit the movie, but it's that particular title says a lot as far as how the younger generation treat their elders, real elders. I'm not talking about the JW elders. There's a big difference. Our old people in our community, the elderly, lots of wisdom there that is untapped as far as information. Though I think a whole lot of them are full of you know what. But anyway, I figure I'll call this video "No Religion for Old Men and Women" as well. They're affected even more so than men in this particular scenario. And this is an experience that I'm observing with my in-law, especially my father-in-law. And it's all observed. I mean, all my videos is just stuff that I've been observing from the JW community since been married to my wife for nearly almost 2 decades now. And I've been around mostly her family. It's who are out here the most. I'm the only one as far as my side of the family that is out here, and interact more with them and the JW sort of lifestyle than I do with my own family, and they're non-JWs, so they don't follow JWs whatsoever, and really don't really know much about them. But anyway, this is concerning my father-in-law. He just had somewhat of a milestone birthday recently, and my wife has found him in his house. He drinks quite a bit, I think. A functional drunk, I would say. Very functional. I think he's used that as a coping mechanism and also self sort of medication. I'm just guessing. I don't know. This man for me is kind of hard to figure out because he puts out that front, that wall, if you will, that is kind of hard to pin down. I like the guy actually, I really do, but the JW brain of his is really, puts me off. I don't really like that aspect of it because it's so rigid and unbending. But my wife has found him in the house almost in tears, sobbing or something. Not sobbing, but very down and out as far as and drinking his problems away because he just turned, you know, up there in age, and he begins to realize that he's up there in age and is somewhat really depressed and sad about the whole situation instead of reflecting back on maybe a good life he might have had with his children, and now with grandchildren and stuff. Uh, it doesn't seem that he's reflecting on that at all, but mostly on him losing his prime. When my wife and I talk about her parents, because the mom, the narcissistic mom that has nothing nice to say, and everything that goes along with being a narcissist. This woman is an old hat on it. I'm pretty sure it's consuming her whole psyche, and she really doesn't get much rest because of it. But that's another layer of complexity about my wife's family. And but anyway, they're both up there in age. She, I think, is 5 years younger than he is, but she is beginning to show signs of slowing down and not being Like in another movie called, I forgot the name of the movie, but she is not economically viable anymore. Or I'm pretty sure she is. Everybody is in a sense, but in her mind, she is not anymore. And so is the dad. They self-deprecate, really low self-esteem as far as the workforce and going out there and getting a job. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they both work. They're in the trades. At least the dad is, and the mom, she does odd jobs here and there. A lot of domestic, what do you call it? Domestic help, babysitting, cleaning houses and whatnot. And the dad is in the sort of the construction trade, and he tried to get a regular job with somebody else, like maybe an agency or a company, but he's screaming age discrimination, and he gives up looking for that type of job with a steady paycheck every month or whatever. Something more stable than what he's doing now, because in the trades, in construction specifically, it's feast or famine. And throughout his lifetime, as far as being a tradesman, he hasn't made the right decision as to, for stability, for when he does turn elderly or a senior citizen, to where his body cannot keep up with the demands of being a tradesman. There was a point where he was in charge of his own company and hired people and was the boss, the crewman, the foreman, and led these people into, whatever particular project that they're in. He owned his own company and did that, and that was perfect. I mean, when you start off in the trades, you start from the bottom and work your way up to where you're given the orders and don't do much of the heavy lifting as would a new person or younger person going into the trades. But he has gone from bottom to the top of the food chain, right back down to the bottom once again, working for somebody else, doing a young man's job, pretty much. And it's really hard on the guy. Doesn't make much. Yeah, his age and attitude and all that is beginning to show and take effect, where he's not as light on the feet as he should be. So now he's come full circle in his work history, where he's now a regular tradesman. He does odd jobs here and there. He's not in charge of a company anymore, and he's working for someone else who's also up there in age and is the local elder of the local congregation here that my wife goes to. And they're both up there, still doing their jobs, and but a little bit slower. Quite a bit wiser as far as their trades, but they're not as productive as they used to be. At this rate now, they do have a younger generation now. The elders' grandsons are being hired in his company to do the trades job and bringing them up. But this again is the closed knit or closed community of being a JW, and I call it the JW economy, because they keep everything in house. The workforce, who they do business with, if possible. Of course, they have to go outside and solicit non JW members for a living. I mean, it's just not them. But you see this sort of changing of the guard from the old and the new. But the thing is, the older generation, they did not suspect to be struggling this hard at this time in the world's history. I mean, Armageddon was supposed to already be enacted or waiting for it any day now, and they're still, toiling through the current system of things and their sort of dogma. And and it's not really going to work out for them, or is not working out for them, because they did not make provisions as to how to handle retirement or old age, and stability in the current system of things. They were relying on the Armageddon to come by this time, and the rest is history, with the petting of pandas and living young and energetic again in their new house, in the new system, their version of paradise or heaven or whatever you want to call it these days. So I'm certain that my example here of my wife's parents, who are JW members lifetime, uh, reaching retirement and getting into being elderly as well, that their future really doesn't look that great. They're struggling now. They still have to work to make ends meet, and they have to do a little bit extra things that they don't want to do to just make ends meet. And I'm pretty sure, I don't get involved with their finances or anything, but I'm pretty sure they're going to lose their house, and sometime soon, once all the tricks that they've pulled financially to get them out of a bind has been, used up and expired, they're going to wind up getting kicked out and possibly move in with us. And we cannot help them out financially. My wife doesn't work; she stays home with the kids, and it's challenging even for a single income household to keep things going. We make it through. We do sacrifice here and there, but we still have a roof over our heads and food on the table. But it's only for us. We can't extend that hospitality outwards financially, but we could convert our garage into a bedroom. And as bad as I hate to have them here, I have to have that accommodation just in case, because I'm pretty sure it will happen. So the in-laws will probably move in with us, possibly. I can't turn them out into the streets like maybe they would for a disfellowship sibling or kid, or one of their kids. So this is just a theory of mine, and I cannot really verify this. I could ask them, but I'm pretty sure they would lie to me just to sugarcoat their answer into letting me believe that no, they're not waiting for Armageddon or uh, the coming new system, and that's why they've been having really bad financial situation now and in the recent past. I'm sure they will not tell me the truth about that and why they're in the predicament that they're in. The dad is pretty smart, I think, but he sure makes some dumb financial decisions to where his future is really not stable as far as finances. And he had the opportunity to put themselves into a nice, little nest egg where they don't really have to worry about it and just coast on through into Armageddon. But that's not the case. Uh, they're both struggling, and they're too proud to say so or ask, especially us, my wife and I, for any help. Any financial advisor would consult in anybody not to, let's say, lease a car. My in-laws did lease cars for the most part when they were younger, all the time. I believe they run their credit cards to the max most of the time as well. And they would also borrow a bit too much past their means of paying it back. And I often wondered if the reason why they make these bad financial decisions is because they are so sure that the Armageddon is coming soon and they wouldn't have to pay back this debt that they occurred, which to me is, just a white collar version of stealing or thievery, in my opinion, knowing that you're not going to pay back in this particular system something that might be, washed as a clean slate after their Armageddon. I'm just guessing because that's all I've got is their, the religion's sort of dogma to go by, and it kind of falls in place of what the JWs always preaches. The old system is going to be distinguished, and everything will start anew in their system of things. And I believe that's how the grandparents or my in-laws live their lives in the present, reality, hoping for the new system here to take care of all their past debts and to sail right into, the promised mansion that they're going to live in. So this has been one observation that I've seen from the older generation of JWs that are struggling with and are coming to terms with when nothing supernatural like the new system of things is not arriving soon enough to get them out of their financial predicaments in their lives or retirement stability afterwards. And the society is not helping these people either. My one little example of what's going on in our family here, my wife's family, I know is just one story among thousands, if not millions, throughout the population of the 8 million JWs that are roaming this earth. Pretty soon, many of these young JWs or middle-aged are going to be in retirement range and become elderly and suffer like the rest of the 6 million or 6 billion people in the world with an unknown future if they don't prepare for it. And it kind of sort of seems that the Watchtower society really don't care about these elderly or the older generations. They're just going to be, pushed down for the younger generation to take care of these people. A big example is when they had the layoffs from Bethel, I think it was, where they just told the people that were, being laid off, thank you for serving. Now go back to where you came from with no severance package or retraining of some sort that they could apply to, the current society. At least in the military, they do give you a little bit of a severance pay in a way, travel pay, so you could go home and also like a week or two, at least when I went through it, of, job searching skills like how to make a resume and present yourself into a job interview and job placements for servicemen and women leaving the armed forces here in the United States. They did provide some sort of transition from civilian life into, military life into civilian life outside the military. I don't see the JWs ever providing that sort of help to their members when they laid off so many. And it's not like they have millions and millions of, Bethelites or missionaries or the sort to provide such training or help or some kind of transitional, assistance. It was just cold turkey, thank you, and that's it, which is unfortunate and kind of telling on what, the future could hold for these elderly and senior JW members that are at the end of their current situation. That is another observation that I see happening currently in my life here and my wife's parents' lives. And I'm sure my story is not the only one. If not, it's going to become a bit more exasperated since there are more elderly or senior JW members than they are current young ones being, brought into the religion and following the JW dogma.